What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Paris, Texas, a podcast. I have a super cool guest today. He is a really good friend, if not probably one of my best friends. We do a bunch of stuff together, and I probably regularly stop into his shop just to bug him for no reason other than to see his face. Kris Estep, what's up, dog?
Hey, man. I am super excited to be here.
So we've been pretty good friends for what, maybe 2 years?
Yeah, definitely.
And I have seen you go through some really cool changes in that 2 years.
That's right.
And I am really excited for this podcast.
Me too, man. I'm glad to be here, and man, I think your podcast is great, and I've listened to almost every one of them, and I think it's great just having Paris, Texas having a podcast. And man, being a part of it is great. I think it's awesome.
Well, I'm excited to add your story to my list of stories.
I told
you,
man,
can't tell, but I got a beard, but I'm blushing under here.
They're right. Hey, man, I told you I'm like probably one of the most boring people. So I'm excited to do it, but at the same time, I'm like, my story is.
I'm willing to bet to all the listeners that this is not going to be a boring podcast. I'm going to go ahead and go and put my money on the table on that.
Right on.
So, okay, I've changed up how I had a question I started all the podcasts out with. I'm going to change that up. First off, fair warning that we are currently in Kris Estep's motorcycle shop, South Main Iron, and there are people playing cornhole like 20 feet away from us.
That's right.
So if you hear celebrating or loud thuds like that one, that's them. So just ignore it. We kind of enjoy this kind of thing. But
absolutely.
Kris Estep.
Yes.
Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Paris.
Nuh-uh.
So you don't ask the Parisian parasite question
anymore?
I
liked it at first.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I got old, so now I just want to go right into your story.
All right, let's do it. So I was born in Paris, spent some time in Hugo, and then I went from North Lamar, actually, in the third grade. I went to North Lamar from third until my freshman year, and then went back to Hugo and graduated from Hugo. And as soon as I graduated high school, moved back to Paris because it was home. And started working at Sears in Paris. That's not in business anymore. And from there, man, we got married whenever I was 21, and man, that was in 2006. So it's been awesome. But from there, it's the power sports world has always fascinated me. Mm-hmm. And I started working at a local power sports dealer in 2006, and I knew I wanted to make a career out of it. And I was there about 12 years, and my best friend, Ryan Whitaker, who I've known since probably kindergarten, he was starting his own business, and South Main Iron, and I could not imagine, being outside the power sports world, and I am super excited to be here. And I totally just summed up like 20 years in 3 minutes.
Everybody listening, that was the synopsis.
Yeah, that was the synopsis.
So now we're going to jump back to, what age did you move to Hugo?
So I was born in Paris, but for about 2 years, we lived in Hugo's whenever I was about 2 years old.
2 years old. So you don't remember any of that?
I don't. I do. Back? No, I have a weird memory.
Nuh-uh.
And no, I'm serious. I have the weirdest memory, I'm told. And, it's one of those deals that I can remember, stuff from being on that street and just certain things. I do have a wild story about Albert Drive.
Bring it.
So, of course, you remember that furniture that's green and brown and everything else, right? So, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The floral?
Yes.
Well, yes. I can remember us having that type of carpet and and everything. It was all that 80s stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
My grandparents had it.
born in 83, and so this would it's gonna be 85.
Okay.
And those curtains that are the heavy like wool style curtains. You know what I'm
Almost
talking
like
about?
corduroy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I remember being my mom either in the kitchen or something, and I was always told not to unplug or plug in, the outlets, right? Mm-hmm. I can remember walking over to this lamp, and it was the clear. I remember it being the clear plug, and I unplugged it, plugged it back in, back and forth, sparked, caught the curtains on fire, and my mom and we still talk about it to this day. Curtains are on fire. My mom is coming in. I remember it like it was, I'm serious, like it was last week. Curtains are on fire. My mom is freaking out. And, man, that's just like one of those memories that stuck in there. The dog that we had and everything from being 2 years old, catching crawdads. Oklahoma stuff, right?
Oh, my goodness.
So that was, there's so many memories that I have on that street. But, no, we moved to Durant for a little while. And then, we came back and I started school. Actually, I think I went to Aiken for just a little while. But, yeah. I have a ton of friends from North Lamar, and
because a majority of your school
was at North Lamar.
Yeah, but you didn't happen to graduate from there.
Yeah, I started there, I guess, around '93, and went to live with my dad in Hugo, which was awesome, and definitely a just incredible time in my life. Living in Hugo.
When did Ryan come into the picture?
As far as Ryan and I,
when did y'all meet?
Basically, early on, in elementary, I knew Ryan, and I was always at his house.
We are neighbors?
And, no, we just knew, met each other, from school and stuff. And so, Ryan, we rode four-wheelers and everything, at his parents' house. And, it's kind of crazy, because I had a four-wheeler then too, and that was... I can remember like in third or fourth grade, so riding four-wheelers together and stuff like that. There's, some pits, is what we used to call it. And growing up on those streets and stuff like that, Ron and I were always riding and, at his house, at his parents' house too. So
you built a lifelong friendship with riding four-wheelers together.
Pretty much, man.
And now y'all.
Now we're in it together. But we've worked together. Matter of fact, Ron and I worked together at Sears. And I'm serious. Yeah, we worked together at Sears. That was in 2000. And July of 2000, I started at Sears. And I'm telling you, it was one of the best jobs for somebody that's, straight out of high school, which it's not in, in business anymore, unfortunately. I met so many awesome people and, work family and stuff there that I still see around Paris. Yeah. And, Ryan and I, he's always... I always feel like I'm that, laid back kind of person that, is a little bit shy and, which, Ryan says otherwise, but Ryan is super, super outgoing and, he's always had, a super good mindset. High energy. Yeah. Hilarious. And, he's, super likable and, he's got a really good business sense. And, that's what, I really, looked at, especially, whenever he started South Main Iron, being over here, and it's been awesome ever since. But yeah, we worked together at Sears. I was at Sears until 2005, so I actually worked there for 5 years. Ryan went on, to sell cars for a little while, but in 2005, actually, one of my, kind of dreams was to become a police officer. And so in 2005, I got a job at Durant Police Department in Durant, Oklahoma, and I was there
doing what?
As a patrolman.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
How do I not know this?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you were a police officer.
Yeah. Beth would say otherwise, but I think it was around 5 or 6 months, and I had just overall just had a completely new respect, for police officers and everything.
Of course.
But just I felt like I needed to definitely do something different overall. And great department, great town.
Certain jobs are for people and not for people.
Yeah, no, definitely. But left there and started Power Sports in '06.
Whoa.
Yeah.
6 months, 5 months, police officer?
Yeah, it was like 5-6 months, yeah.
What's the craziest story that you can tell that happened in that amount of time?
I got it.
Go.
I say the craziest. One of the ones that sticks out in my mind is, so in they call it, your FTO process where you're with an FTO. One of my first phases in the whenever I was with an FTO is, obviously I was super nervous, and they kind of teach you, just kind of relax and everything. So I'm walking up to this truck that this lady's in, and it was like my second stop that I had ever made, like live stop, not training or anything, but out there actually on the road, right? So I walk up and, she turned around, she said, "Are you scared of me?" And, because they teach you to, use caution and, walk up to every single car that, approach it, the same, you just, overall, just for your safety and everything. And I probably overly did it. But, I got a driver's license and everything, came back to the patrol car and grabbed the ticket book. And I went through, whenever I went to write the ticket, I went through I didn't put the flap down, so I went through 7 tickets. I pressed through 7 tickets, and that was, a big no-no, in the whole scheme of everything. And so, yeah, I definitely heard about it, having to void out 6 tickets whenever we got back to the station. So I realized that I did that. Besides that, no, I had an awesome time. There's definitely, people who come out, at different times. There are different people every shift. You have, your early, 7 to 3 is different from the 3 to 11, 11 to 7. I mean, those people at night, it's a different world. So, but it was awesome, man. We learned a lot, made a lot of friends over there as well. People that, I still, connect through, Facebook and everything. So.
Okay, so you left there, you went to motorsports.
Yeah.
Where was that at?
Here in town. It was at Paris Harley Davidson. Mm-hmm. And, met a ton of people and worked over there. Was parts manager there at the dealership, and also did marketing as well. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
And in your marketing, I just know this about you, so I want to take us there. In your marketing, you learned how to do graphics and even some video, right?
I did. Fell in love with it,
right? Because
you and I, definitely, are on in the same
wavelength.
That's right. Whenever we're, I'm constantly, message you or, I'm calling you. I'm like, probably, hey, what do you think about this? At the same time. No, it's funny how that happened. Just kind of fell into place. Me doing, some of the marketing and everything over there, which I loved, and with advertising and marketing, it allowed me to, not only do something a little bit different, with my time and everything, but also allowed me to overall just kind of be creative.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about, being in Adobe and being, having the camera at the same time. It's endless. And, I didn't really realize that at first. So yeah. I love Photoshop, love Premiere Pro, and After Effects and all of that. And I haven't even scratched. I love to say that I've scratched the surface.
I don't know that I have, and I do it every day.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I get a lot of entertainment, from doing that and being, diving off into Photoshop. So.
There's something about creative people that they have to have that outlet, and a lot of times it's really hard for them. I go back to sorry to slip into my story, but I go back into my high school childhood years, and I didn't know what my creative outlet was, and I think it made life harder.
Sure.
Even with stress release, until I found my creative outlet in my 20s.
Yeah.
is when I started figuring out I love doing this and I love
Right.
learning. And again, Adobe programs, people make careers out of learning how to work Adobe programs.
No, definitely. And, those guys, I follow some on Instagram. And it's, some of the work that's out there is just, and the whole thing is, and I'm sure you've thought the same thing, but it's right there in front of me.
Yeah.
It's right
Every
there.
button that they are using is right there in front of you.
It's in your mind.
Yeah.
It's all about,
Mindset.
all of their stuff. And, I get that, they're probably in it a lot more than I am. But it comes down to art.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything,
Mm-hmm.
And some of the videos and stuff that you've done. I mean, that's all of that. Every single button that's selected inside that is, comes down to, what you want to do with it. And your videos are incredible.
Again, blushing behind the beard.
That you do.
Thank you.
And some of the latest ones and stuff, that y'all have done. Some of the, what was it? Like the fire department and stuff like that.
The Paris, Texas
Leah.
one just came out. If you haven't seen the Paris, Texas video, go. Paris has it on their site, so go check that out. It's
definitely awesome.
Okay, so Harley for, let me see if I can remember this, 12 years.
That's right. You got it.
That's awesome, dude. So how much, okay, first off, were you a motorcycle person? I know you did four-wheelers, but were you a motorcycle person prior to that?
Yes. I wasn't a Harley person, but just overall.
Dirt bikes?
Dirt bikes I loved. I had a friend growing up that we spent a lot of time, riding dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff. And it overall became a passion. Everybody loves growing up around side by sides, four wheelers and dirt bikes, but it was really in my system, in my veins. And I can remember buying a four wheeler, from the local power sports here. Whenever I was like 16 years old, and I probably kept it on two wheels more than I kept it on four, is what my dad always says, going out there across the pasture in Hugo. But I loved it. It was just always in my system. And, it's awesome. You talk to some of these guys who've been riding for so long and just listening to them, having the passion for riding, at the same time. And our team here, at South Main Iron, is all of them are super passionate about riding. So you can sit there and talk to them for a couple of minutes and realize that this isn't, somebody that's just standing, behind a desk, or, they're, out here on the floor and they love to ride. It's just in their system as well. But
awesome. So, okay, did you grow to love Harleys?
I did.
You did?
Instantly. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some incredible brands out there. Actually, I would say most of the brands that are out there, overall, are great brands. There's something about overall the Harley brand overall. If I used to tell people, you sit on 20 bikes and you sit on a Harley, and it's one of those, it's a completely different world at the same time. But there are some incredible brands out there, leaving there and, starting, when we opened up South Main Iron,
which was only
6 months ago.
6 months ago. So not very long. So you were there for
April
12
16th.
years. April 16th, you came over and y'all started South Main Iron.
Yeah.
And then, okay, keep going.
Yeah.
I just want to catch people up.
No, yeah, April 16th. It has been an incredible ride. We have some loyal customers, and it's things are looking great. And what we want to do downtown is one of those
epic locations.
Listen, downtown is. It's incredible. It really is. And I always say, if you hear me, talking about it, the downtown people are amazing.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah. And trust me, I know. I
love it. Yeah, I love it. And just being down here, we have Swaim Hardware across the street that their sign says 1932 on it. They probably have stuff from 1932. I mean, they
still
have
got
got everything over there.
Yeah.
And, so it is pretty awesome to hear, people, even now, that have came from out of town. They're like, man, I didn't even know y'all were here. And they came. Everybody knows where Swaim Hardware is.
Oh yeah, anybody that in the 100-mile radius,
yeah,
will know exactly where you're talking about. Not only is it an epic location in the city, it's an epic location as a building. Yeah. If you have not been inside of their building, come get a tour. I guarantee you, if Kris or Ryan are here, they will instantly give you a tour of the building. Yeah. Because it's got an awesome lower level. They'll tell you some of their plans for the is that a middle level or an upper level?
So we call it kind of a mid-level. So South Main Street
hits the mid-level.
That's right. And so we have our building is 30. I think it's nearly 40,000 square foot total throughout the entire building. We use a good portion of the 16,000 square foot of showroom that we have. Right now, our storefront is on the First Street side, Southwest First.
Temporarily.
Yeah, temporarily. And we have a ton of plans for up front and to bring on a restaurant as well. Mm-hmm. Did I just say that? I probably wasn't supposed to say that out loud, but we have a lot of plans in the future as well, and more locations too. So,
and then upstairs is equally as awesome as downstairs.
I totally agree. Yeah, it is probably one of the things, and Ryan will say the same. Stepping foot up there on that second floor, mm-hmm. and seeing the 1932 hardwood floors that are they're old. And the building is old.
Not thin, but
1933.
Short, but they're small planks. They're not 2x4s. They're
just imagine those guys in 1933
and
that
putting those down.
Laid every one of those. I'm all about history, and anybody that's around me. I'm constantly talking about the history of our location and downtown. I'm definitely fortunate to be in Leadership Lamar County this class for 2018, 2019, which I love. And the last class was about Paris, Texas, and Lamar County, the history of Paris, Texas, and Lamar County.
There could be a whole podcast about that.
I am there could be. And I mean, it's amazing. Overall, listening to, those people and listening, and walking through the museum. I didn't even know Paris had a museum.
Couple, actually, right?
I'm sure. Down there by the depot, man.
There's two down by the depot. There's the one in the depot, and then there's the one in Heritage Hall.
Yeah, one's like the Indian one. That one that's next to Heritage Hall.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's
incredible.
A couple churches that have museums inside of them as well.
Really?
They're smaller, probably size of your office, but they're pretty neat.
It is. If anybody gets the chance to walk through that.
And then Maxie House is pretty much a museum if you walk up in there.
True. But they have stuff from, I could sit here and talk about, I could get off on talking about Lamar County history and Paris history just because it is so fascinating, just learn about the fire and, one of our just main things. And, overall it's I love history, especially our location. We'll have to have a second
episode.
Let's do it.
It'll be called Broadway and Kris's Paris, Texas history lesson.
That's right.
And we'll do a whole podcast on all the knowledge you remember.
Go live and take questions.
That's a really good idea.
Let's do it.
I'm putting it in the books.
Yeah.
Maybe something we can do for the beginning of 2019.
Definitely.
Okay. So y'all been here 6 months.
Yep.
You've got some epic plans for the future. You've got some epic ground roots going on right now.
We have also, one of our favorite things to do is South Main Saturday. We have events. That's once a month that we have, and we love the South Main Saturday. We have live music, beverages, food and stuff like that. But we love to have different events at our location, and customers, like to be able to come out, ride out, and whether you are in the truck, car, or motorcycle, it's everybody's welcome, no matter what you ride. It's not stereotypical or anything like that, but. Speaking of one, we've got one coming up that's called Blankets, Bikers, and Blues.
I saw an ad for that.
Yeah, it actually, it's presented by Lamar County Human Resources Council and Meals on Wheels, and I'm on the board at Meals on Wheels.
I did know that.
Yeah. So I've been on the board at Meals on Wheels, which I absolutely love that organization, and what they do for seniors and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Amazing.
It really is.
One of my favorite parts, and it's a weird part. I mean, I love everything about your building and everything about your company and everything. But so recently they moved the Paris, Texas sign. So the one that used to be by, it was close to Paris Baby.
Yeah.
It was in that burnout over there, kind of closer to, it was a little bit closer to the square. It got moved and it got put on your wall next to this big tree. It's
Yep.
I mean, it's
We call that the
south
burnout
south building.
on the south side.
On the south side. Burnout lot. That's a great name for it.
Yep.
Big, awesome tree to have stuff under.
It is.
I did my ribbon cutting there not too long ago,
Yep.
and it just, I don't know, it's such an epic location. I've seen you guys put out tables and chairs and umbrellas and
Yeah.
and
It
I
is a
know
good
y'all
spot.
got plans for that
We do.
stuff, but I just, something about that corner just makes me feel at home.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. This whole location, where we're at and stuff, it's super awesome. And that, we have future plans for that, as far as, food vendors and, live music and everything. It's a perfect location. We've put a door in, so we have access to come in and out of that burnout lot, so it's going to be great.
What was it, 4 levels of bricks?
They so the fire barrier in a lot of these buildings downtown, you can get me off on history.
Well,
I'm telling
just
you.
just this brick wall.
They were designed to have a fire barrier in a lot of the businesses or buildings in downtown Paris, and so there is a lot of them. Have 3 and 4 bricks. This one is 4 bricks thick.
Whew.
Can you imagine? So our house is 1, right?
Yeah.
Or most houses.
Most brick houses.
So, 4 bricks thick of tearing that wall out and putting this door in. And I love our doors. Everybody's always like, why is he so worried about the doors? Our doors, a few of them were built on site, but they're sliding doors. We had a couple of hanger style doors that are in our tech area. And those 3 doors, big doors that weigh as much as a car, were built on site. And
imagine people listening. Imagine the barn doors, what people put in their house now. It's kind of a fad.
Yeah.
Imagine that, super sized on crack.
Yeah.
Huge scale, big
Thick.
scale, thick,
heavy.
You have to have
glass.
machines
Yeah.
to open most of them.
Yeah.
Because they're so big.
Yeah.
Imagine that, and that's the kind of doors we're talking about. Big old sliding doors.
Yeah. But we do, we have active construction going on, here at the dealership.
And you probably will for a while.
We will for a while. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of plans. While we just got back from London. Did I tell you
I was
that?
just fixing to go
Were you
there.
really?
Yeah, that was my next topic.
Hey, I outside of going to Mexico and stuff like that, that was my first time to leave the country. Really?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. I'd never been to Europe.
Dude,
I've never been to Canada.
been to London, but I love traveling.
Yeah. So. Ryan and I went. We went for a new brand that we're looking at carrying, Triumph motorcycles, which
we can say that now.
Amazing, yeah, you bet.
Oh,
and so
excited for you.
I know they do have an incredible brand, and just sitting there, and being able to visit with the CEO and stuff while we were there was pretty great. And they have an amazing lineup for 2019. So the trip, to London is, it was long. I'm not going to lie to you. It wasn't bad, 9.5 hour flight. And what was really funny is we left, at 7 o'clock at night. And the weirdest thing is at 1:55 Paris time, the sun's coming up. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty wild, seeing, being in the air and looking down and seeing that. But the time change, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a struggle. I didn't get a lot of sleep in London, but I managed to see, and if I managed to find out how much I could function on very few hours of sleep. I wouldn't even call it sleep. I'd call it more like several power naps. Overall.
I think the trick, I'm not an expert, but I've traveled a few times in my days, but the trick's to find out that time before you leave. and then schedule your sleep schedule the day
True.
before. Like, so if you know you're going to be showing up
Yeah.
at sun up there, then you need to sleep a little bit before you get to the airport, and then you need to sleep the entire. Like, you need to take some.
I agree.
Benadryl, and sleep that plane ride all the way there.
You can tell you what the worst part about it was? Calling back home.
Yeah,
and talking to the kids, and talking. Your mind. You know that if it's midnight, it's 6 o'clock. If it's midnight, it's only 6.
Yeah.
It's around dinner time. Back home.
Yep.
And so if it's 6 o'clock in London, it's lunchtime. And so if you can get that out of your head, everybody kept saying, quit thinking about the Central Time Zone, back in Paris. Stop talking about it.
It's all mental.
It's all mental. So, there would be many times where we would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Ryan and I both. Mm-hmm. We'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're wide awake, like full blown. So, no, but we did. We saw the brand and saw, got to go to their world convention that they have every 3 years in London. They have one in the States as well. But those bikes are, most of those bikes are built there in London, in Hinckley, which is just north of London. So we got to tour the factory and stuff. But, while we were there, of course, we made time to see St. Paul Cathedral, and we went to Big Ben, which is probably one of my favorite places while we were in London. We also we saw Buckingham Palace, and that was definitely awesome to see. So the whole town has a you can tell it's royalty type environment on a lot of the corners. But the nicest people. I'm serious when I say you always hear people come back and say oh, there's the rudest people in this in New York or whatever. London has some of the nicest people I've ever been around.
Awesome.
All of the cabs. And any of the cab drivers, they were so eager. In the restaurants that we went to, they were so eager to help us and tell us what the next best thing was, where we needed to travel. And one thing I will say, since they drive on the left hand side of the road, one of the funniest things, I wouldn't say it was funny. If you're gonna step across the road, where are you gonna look over here? To the left.
Because they're opposite. Yep, you have to look to the right.
I can't tell you how many times we'd look to the left and start walking, and here comes a car
on their right side.
On there, on there, on the left. So that's one thing. One thing that's pretty wild. But the weather there was 60s during the day, 50s in the mornings. The last day we were there, it was kind of chilly, but they were having an abnormal kind of season over there. But
so Triumph, I don't know. I mean, I've had a little bit of history with motorcycles. I don't want to dive into me, but Triumph, I think, is probably one of my more favorite brands. Yeah. Because, not all, but one of their styles is what they call a cafe racer. Yep. And it's got like this long flat seat and this lower kind of body look, and the handlebars are close to the front, and
that's kind of that's overall,
their feel, right?
It is. It's their theme kind of is that cafe style. And listen, they're also, going into that, they have a Tiger that's a adventure bike, which is super awesome. And I had the chance to ride one, actually one of our customers.
Is that the one you showed me a picture of?
Yeah.
That was an awesome looking bike.
Yeah, and if you like that on-off-road type, it's one of those.
Kimmy would never let me have a motorcycle, but if I were to have a motorcycle, I think that's the kind I would want right there.
Yeah, you just ask for forgiveness later. Right?
We're gonna have to barter because I don't have the money to.
Hey, no, really, it's an awesome brand. And while we were in London, speaking of cafe racer, they have this place called Ace Cafe, and I put it on our Facebook. But it is a really neat place, and we got to meet the owner, and his name's Mark Wilsmore, and he is a fascinating guy overall. Wow. He told us a lot about the cafe racer and where it all began, and it began right there at the Ace Cafe. Nuh-uh. Yes, in London. So
Do you have like photos and stuff to back it up, or?
Yeah, I mean the Ace Cafe. If you look up Ace Cafe online, and I took some pictures of the building, but the Ace Cafe is, it's a cafe. They kind of you can eat there, and they wanted a place that people could come to, and no matter what the brand was, but it's how it was back then. He actually bought it in '94, but how it was, back in the day, whenever those. Movies and stuff came out, and Steve McQueen, and stuff. Those movies and stuff like that were kind of a turning point for so many things. Well, how it was then is the same way it is now at any motorcycle dealership. If you think about it, they would meet up, talk, organize. They would hang out, have a beer, or a glass of milk. They actually have a milk container in there, and then guys still pull up and get milk. I had one guy pull up or walk up next to me while I was in there, and he's like, I like a glass of milk, so pretty awesome, pretty different, right?
In my head, I like all I can pick, I know exactly what you're talking about. In my head, I keep wanting to go to a guy on a Harley in a vest with a big beard,
exactly,
riding up to a cafe asking for a glass of milk.
I know,
that's
right?
That's the picture I'm getting.
And
I mean, but that's not what it is.
It's not. Yeah,
get it,
but how it is today is the same way, or how it was then is the same way it is today. You got guys that pull up on, a bike that's inspired, by them. That they've created, and they've added their own touches. Nobody wants to, pull up on a stock bike. They've chopped the fender off, or they put some straight handlebars, or whatever it may be. The same way it was then is the same way it is now.
That's awesome.
Same way at the Ace Cafe. So they would take their bikes and ride from the Ace Cafe down the road and back, all in kind of a circle, and boom, became the Cafe Racer.
Wow.
Pretty awesome. But we really enjoyed our trip. We learned a lot, and if you get the chance to go to London, I totally recommend it.
Right. It's on my bucket list, bro.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. Well, I was gonna ask you what your dream bike is, but I'm assuming what's it called?
What?
The one you showed me a picture of. The one you got a chance to ride because a customer came up.
Oh, the Tiger.
The Tiger. Is that that would be your dream bike?
The Adventure. I'm actually, I love all motorcycles.
So you don't have one.
Man, honestly, I really don't. I can think in my head of some stuff that I would do. And anybody that's been in the motorcycle industry, has that one that just fits them perfect. I have short legs.
Okay.
So, you take that guy that has, it's a long-legged guy that, can handle, some of the touring bikes. I can handle a touring bike no matter, what it is.
You can have those shortened, though, can't you?
You can, yeah. You can put a lowering kits and stuff on them. But, I definitely have that in my mind, what I would do, to a motorcycle, whether it be...
Because that's what motorcycling is all about, right? It's not about the stock bike being the dream bike. It's about what can you do to certain bikes to make it more
fit you,
and your personality, and and make it more your dream bike by adding and taking away, cutting something off, or adding a different style seat, or.
You don't want to fit the bike; you want the bike to fit you.
Right.
And so, at the same time, and we've I've talked about that for years. Customizing motorcycles and stuff like that. But overall, I can definitely see what bike and what direction. I'm not going to say. Because I'm at the drawing board right now on what I want to do. I'm serious. Yeah, it's gonna be in the next. You'll see it probably in the next 3 or 4 months. We'll have to post a picture, but I've got it in my head exactly what I want to do. Yeah, so super excited about it. I'm not gonna fill in any details, but it's coming. Wow. Yeah, but I love all motorcycles. Whether it's no matter what brand. This is kind of really forced us to learn some of the other brands out there that that we really didn't know. That much about, and there's some incredible motorcycle brands, even ATVs and side by sides too. So we love it. We love being down here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, this was not at all a boring podcast.
Is it over?
Well, it doesn't have to be. Do you have any questions?
Let's talk about you.
I've got that. So I will give you a little hint. I've been asked that question numerous times. I have scheduled, so the first podcast of 2019
is all about Broadway.
Will be about Broadway.
Awesome. Well, good.
And at the moment, I have 2 people that want to interview me at the same time, I think, is what we're going to do.
Now you have 3. Totally do it. I've got some. I'll have some wicked questions for you.
Maybe we'll have to figure out a way for people to like insert questions and send them in or something. But no. So yeah, that's the plan. Is the first podcast of 2019. Will be all about Broadway.
Awesome, man. I'm super excited.
If anyone cares to listen.
No, definitely. Hey, your story is pretty epic too, right?
I mean. I don't know. I think I have some fun stories to tell, but like that would be up to people listening.
Right. No, I understand.
I like telling stories, so there's that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, man, when I start talking,
occasionally I get people that I bring on the podcast that somehow have this magical power to turn
the conversation.
They turn it and start asking me questions, and before I even remember that we're doing a podcast, I start answering the questions, and then I look down and I realize that like I've taken up half the podcast talking about me, and it's their time to be telling their
information. Story. It's a lot to talk about in just a short amount of time.
Well,
So.
my dream for this podcast has always been for it to be more of a conversation between me and you, or me and the guest.
Man, versus being in front of that camera.
And it's way eeasier, right?
It is way easier, but you know what we were talking about before. Like Dax podcast, and I also listen to that one. Man, Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell and stuff.
The Armchair Expert.
That's right.
The name of that podcast. If anyone wants to look it up.
One of my favorites, and Gary V. At the same time. Gary V's got a good one. He does have a good one. So I
got a new one. You might want to try out. Replay All, I think is what it's called. Reply All.
I'll have to check that one out.
Reply All.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Podcasts are hard sometimes if you don't make the time for them at the same, you know what I'm saying? Because it takes me 7 minutes to get to work.
Yeah.
So I have to make time for podcasts, if I'm, jogging or, if I'm at home and I'm like, you know what, I'm putting my headphones in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to listen.
See, I'm always in my car. I mean, I have an office downtown at the Grove, but I go to so many clients in my car, so I spend a lot of time in my car. So I get a lot of time to listen to podcasts and books and stuff like that. But one thing I just want to jump into this is I had a few requests on doing short podcasts, and I tried. So I did one.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to make this a weekly thing.
Yeah.
And I failed.
Oh, you failed?
Yes. So
what was the time? Like how long? 10 minutes?
So my goal was to keep them under 10 minutes. So my first one was, I did 2. My first one was telling people, okay, here's what I want to try.
Right.
I'm going to try to do this. I've got someone lined up. We're going to, and so then I did my first one, which was Jeremy Glossop.
Yeah.
Owns
super cool guy.
Small Town Beard Company. Actually, you guys carry his stuff in your shop.
We do.
So if anybody wants to hit up some beard stuff, go to South Main Iron or look at Jeremy Glossop up on, and you see, this is not a sponsored.
That's right.
He's not paying me to say this, but I really do enjoy. I use Small Town Beard Company, and it
is good stuff.
You should look him up. He's on website, Facebook, Instagram. I think Instagram. I don't know. So I did him. He was my first 10-minute or less podcast.
Yeah.
And here's my thought process. It's like, okay, so Jeremy's from Cooper.
Right.
He's not from Paris.
Right.
So it'd be hard to do a story on Jeremy.
This is Paris, Texas.
It's a Paris, Texas podcast. But Jeremy influences Paris, Texas because he not only has a company that he sells product here, he also is a teacher at North Lamar. He teaches science and robotics. And
be a good story.
So, I mean, he's raising our children in school. I mean, that's one of his jobs. And he works here. So I wanted to find more people like that I could interview, but really quick. I just want to hear some quick stories, who you are, what you do, in and out.
Yeah.
They're like the synopsis you gave at the beginning. Like,
so why didn't you fail?
I found it hard to find those people because, I spend a lot of time in. I live in Paris. I work in Paris. A lot of the people I'm involved in the chamber.
Right.
a majority of the people that are around me, my circle, live here.
Sure.
So it has been difficult for me to find somebody that has 10 minutes just to like stop and talk about themselves, and not be from here.
Right. No, I totally get it.
So, but I will still do them. They just may not be weekly. It'll be more like, if there's an event and I'm at that event. Like I really wished you weren't there actually. I was at the chamber banquet and we had a gal keynote speaker, Amelia Earhart, came in and spoke to us.
That's awesome.
Not the real Amelia Earhart.
I was about to say.
I mean, her name is really Amelia Earhart.
Is it really?
Birth name, given, birth certificate, everything. But she is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she's in her upper 20s.
Awesome.
She didn't tell me her age, but she's younger than me. Amazing story. Look her up.
To do a 15-minute.
And I wanted it. I didn't have the guts because. People pay her to come in and tell her story.
Of course.
Why would I want?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but something like that where I meet somebody. She's not from here. She's from Denver, Colorado. But she came and spoke to a bunch of people, influenced people with her story.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have been able to tell her story.
Well, I really like the podcast because you get different angles.
Mm-hmm.
You hear stuff about like Michael Plata and stuff like that. About I thought his was really interesting. Learn about
cake
his
baker.
I know, right? Never knew that.
You would never look. Michael's a good friend of mine. We work together weekly. I see him 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Never in my mind would I ever had thought that he baked cakes.
Yeah.
Or even knew how to bake cakes.
But that's the reason why this is so entertaining.
Yes.
Is because you take that person and you're like, I had no idea.
No idea.
So
I mean, that's the heart behind it. Is hearing people's stories, and it makes it easier had you not known Michael or yourself.
That's right.
You know yourself, but like had someone not known you or Michael, it will be easier when they walk through your doors for them to talk to you if they had listened to this podcast.
I agree.
I think because they may have some sort of connection. Hey, I've been to London too.
Right.
And I think there's
awesome.
something awesome about that. I don't know. I mean, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I like doing this.
Well, good. That's the important thing.
So,
definitely, man.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I've enjoyed it. It's awesome. Let's do it again.
I'm serious. 2.0. We will try to schedule it.
Yeah.
A Paris, Texas history lesson from Kris and Broadway.
Perfect.
Broadway probably doesn't know half as much as Kris, but I know enough.
Yeah, I think it'll be. It's super entertaining. I mean,
I'd love to bring in one of these guys. Like I've been told a few names, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, of guys who are passionate about the history of Paris, Texas, and they know it like the back of their hand.
Yeah.
And you and me can interview them or something, because you probably know a lot, but maybe not as much as that person does. Yeah. So then between the three,
it's good information to know. We have this, not to get back on it, but there's a picture while I was walking through the museum, because our dealership is located at Kaufman and Southwest First, right? Well, back in the day, there was a hotel called Merrick's Hotel, Merrick, and Merrick Hotel.
This is pre-fire, pre-big fire.
This is,
because there was 3 fires.
1916 was when
the big fire. Okay,
the last big one. And there's a picture of a guy on a bicycle cart type deal that's at the intersection, looking north, like toward the Paris Community Theater, dirt road. 1912 is when it is done, and I'll have to get the picture for you. But it is awesome to see. North Texas Dry Foods is the building actually he's in front of. So Paris. Even then they had it going on, and it's very interesting to know your roots. At the same time, there's a lot of people that have lived in Paris their whole life, and some people don't care anything about it, but I'm like super interested in.
No, I'm fascinated too. We had Marvin Gorley on.
Man, he is incredible.
He's not from here, interesting, but doesn't matter. But
full of information.
Knows so much about Paris.
Yeah, I would love to sit down and
pick his brain
with Marvin. Yeah, he is. Awesome.
That's a good podcast to go back and listen to. I mean, he almost so much we couldn't fit it all in a podcast because he just knows so much. And
yeah, definitely.
If you ever need someone to look up history on a building or on a person or something, he's a good guy to contact. If he can't do it, he knows someone that can.
There is actually a tree that survived the fire.
In the main fire area?
By Culbertson Park, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So you think of, 1916. Wow. That's an old tree.
That's an old tree.
It's over there. That's southwest corner across the street.
Tree. All right, bud. Dude, you the man.
Hey, I appreciate you.
It was a good podcast. Guys, thanks for listening. If you have not come to South Main Iron, you should hit them up. I mean, if nothing else, just to walk through the building, see the very cool old building. If if you want to, go ahead and buy a bike or side by side or anything they have in their building. T-shirt would be cool too. And just check it out, because I tell you what, I would check it out now, because in the next couple of years, A, it's going to look different, and B, it's going to be even better. So it'd be nice to have that comparison before, after. Wow, how far have we came? So thanks for listening. As always, this podcast will come out every Monday. I will stay true to that. I've got a couple more people lined up to be on it. I won't slip on. You'll get the sneak peeks on Friday as usual, and occasionally maybe you'll get a surprise podcast, a little short 10-minute story from somebody who influences Paris. You can always check me out on Facebook. I have a group. It's Paris, Texas, a podcast. The group, you can join that group. That is where I post a majority of my reminders. Sometimes I even post fun photos of something from the podcast. I have a really good idea for a fun photo. A lot of times they're photoshopped, but a really fun idea for this podcast. So you should wait till after this podcast is released and then go back to the Facebook group, and you might get to see a fun photo. Sometimes they're real photos, but a lot of times I just Photoshop them. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I just love hearing people's story. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.